Fox News contributor Ralph Peters went on Sean Hannity's show yesterday, and he's going to weigh in on the issue of terrorism and blame the exact wrong people.
I mean, he's really an interesting case study psychologically. But this Hamlet of a president forever debating to be or not to be, procrastinating endlessly, is really doing incredible damage. When he became president, Sean, radical Islam was on the ropes. Not totally vanquished, but it was badly wounded, and it was hurting. And if you look at in the past 6 years, the stunning recovery, the metastasis of it, it's now vastly more powerful. Not just Islamic State, but this web, this loose network of Islamist fanaticism that spans much of the globe. It is stunning. It is vastly richer, more powerful, has more backers than al-qaeda ever did. And as I try to tell people, look, I was in the Pentagon in the late 90s, then as a retiree just afterwards. I watched as the Clinton administration kept denying that al-qaeda was a serious threat. And this is so much worse. In office almost 6 years, he's shrunken. He's the amazing shrinking president.
Wow.
A tiny man in a well-tailored suit.
What does that even mean, the last part? He's shrunken. He's a tiny man in a well-tailored suit. I don't even, I was thinking about it earlier. What are you saying? He got smaller while he was in office? He actually shrunk? But what would even the implication be of that? Like, what happened? Oh, when you're stressed, you shrink? Or just when you get older, you shrink? I don't know what you're saying because it doesn't make any sense. You're just trying to throw insults at somebody because you dislike them, but you don't even care to make up good insults. Just say anything. Just whatever. Throw mud against the wall. Hope it fucking sticks. He's shrinking. He's a tiny man in a tailored suit. He's a bitch. Fuck him. He's from Kenya. Whatever. And this guy's, Colonel Ralph Peters. He's one of the most absurd, extreme, far right-wing commentators on Fox News, and that's clearly saying a lot because all of them are fucking nuts. But he is one of these guys who's sympathetic to the birthers and all that stuff. He's out there. So, but look at the central claim he made. He said, well, radical Islam was on the ropes when Obama came into office. I mean, George W. Bush did such a good job destroying all the terrorists, and then Obama fucked it up, and there was a metastasis of terror, and that's what led us to the situation we're in today with ISIS. Okay, that is exactly incorrect. So, first of all, at the end of George W. Bush's time in office, there were multiple studies that came out about how terrorism had spread. In fact, one study came up with the term the Iraq effect, and that meant that because we killed so many innocent civilians and people who weren't involved with any kind of insurgency or the Taliban or al-Qaeda, when we did our war there, you radicalized the area. So people who used to be moderate, who used to have no opinion of America, didn't care, they were neutral or on the fence or whatever, when you killed their aunts and uncles and sisters and brothers and friends, they went, oh yeah, fuck this, I'm going to join the Taliban now and pick up an AK-47 because fuck the Americans. And look, this isn't just my opinion. Again, this is based on the studies. This is based on the facts. And by the way, the CIA has their own term for it. They call it blowback. It's the unintended consequences of an interventionist foreign policy. And all of these radical jihadist groups, their numbers spiked after we declared the war on terror. I mean, for fuck's sake, there were virtually no jihadists in Mali, for example, and then after the war on terror, there was tremendous recruitment, and now northern Mali is basically al-Qaeda-stan. It's so radicalized to the point where France ended up fighting a war there. France, of all places. You don't think of France as being interventionist. And this is across the board. Syria is another good example. The rise of extremism and radicalism in Syria, because a lot of people, whether it's in Afghanistan or Iraq or elsewhere, Iraq, of course, shares a border with Syria, when you displaced so many people and destroyed their lives, and you waged this broad war in the area, you radicalized all these people, and they were looking for answers, and the answers always come in the form of an extremist going, well, all the other guys they're not going to stand up to the Americans. We'll stand up to the Americans. Join us. And keep it real, you broke the region. That's the other thing. He's like, the problem was Clinton. Clinton ignored al-Qaeda and Obama. They're the problems. Bush was great. But wait, Clinton ignored al-Qaeda. Clinton had meetings all the time on Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. George W. Bush had zero. Bush had a fucking memo on his desk that said bin Laden determined to attack inside the U.S. A little bit before 9/11. He did nothing, and then bin Laden attacked inside the U.S. Look, man, you have to stop with this nonsense. The problem, whether or not people want to believe it, and look, it's something that's a hard pill to swallow because we have this idea of Saddam Hussein that he was pure evil. The reality is he wasn't pure evil. He was a little evil. He's a bad guy who brutally and viciously repressed the Kurds, right? And, he really cracked down on his population. He was a dictator for sure, but he did stabilize the region. Here's what would have never happened under Saddam Hussein, a rise of ISIS. He would have crushed them on a Thursday before brunch, okay? Wouldn't have happened. And remember, Saddam Hussein was a Sunni, okay? ISIS are Sunnis. Now there's a Shiite government in Iraq. It was the Maliki government. Now there's a new guy in there, but he's still a Shiite. Iraq is 60% Shiite. And one of the main reasons why there's a Sunni uprising in Iraq is because they feel underrepresented. But if Saddam Hussein was there, he's a Sunni, they would have felt more represented by him. Look, I'm not saying he's a good guy. He's just the lesser of two evils in an imperfect world. But of course, the neocons decided to go into the fucking Middle East, guns blazing, shoot everything in sight, kill everything in sight. Then when everybody gets radicalized and the region gets worse, they go, oh, fucking Obama, look, he ruined it. He didn't ruin it. You ruined it. He's trying to clean up your mess. And look, to be clear about Obama, I'm not saying he's done a fantastic job in the Middle East. He was way too hawkish on Iraq, way too hawkish on Afghanistan, way too hawkish in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia with the drone strikes, way too hawkish in other aspects, the NSA. I mean, I could go on, right? So he's not perfect, but all of his mistakes have been when he's copied George W. Bush. George W. Bush fucked up everything, okay? So Ralph Peters, I mean, he's got it exactly backwards, man, between just defending Bush at all costs and attacking Clinton and Obama. Gee, I wonder what his ideology is. All he does is attack the Democrats, and it comes out even more at the end when he just needlessly throws in, he's a tiny man in a suit and fuck him, he's tired, something. Can you tell I don't like him? Am I being clear enough how biased I am? Yes, Colonel Peters, you are, which is why we're going to ignore everything you say.